Hi, it's Sandra from Greatest Goodness Essentials, wanting to stop in with you today and do a really quick video shoot on inhalational aromatherapy. I've done some videos just recently looking at what happens when we put essential oils onto the roof of our mouth and under our tongue, what happens when we put them on our skin, and even what happens when we ingest them, but I haven't done one yet on what happens when we breathe it in. And breathing it in is the first thing we do whenever we get an essential oil, isn't it? So we really should know what it's doing and why it is such a powerful method of actually getting essential oils into your brain, okay, and what type of responses that can cause. So what happens when you put an essential oil close to your nose, or you breathe it in, be it diffused straight from the bottle, pop a couple of drops in the palm of your hand and cup it over your nose and your mouth and breathe in deep. Right, the smell goes up your nose into your nasal cavity, and at the top of your nasal cavity there's mucus, all right, but there's also a little section, and there's two of them about 1 centimeter across, and it's called the nasal epithelium, and that is where the olfactory nerves are kind of sitting there with little cilia, little finger-like things hanging down into your nasal cavity, waiting to detect a smell. Okay, and when it does detect a smell, when it detects those little components of each smell, it goes bang, it latches onto the nerve, fires a signal through bone, through the cribriform plate, okay, up straight into your brain, into the olfactory center. When it hits the olfactory center, there's like an immediate response, like a recognition response, because that part of your brain is responsible for some long-term memory. So that's when you go, I haven't smelt that smell in years. It takes me straight back to when, all right, and you can recall facts and memories and people and things like that just from a single smell. So that's that immediate part in your brain called your olfactory center. But then over the next few minutes, okay, peaking at around 20 minutes, over the next few minutes, it also sends messages and those essential oil components into other parts of your brain. And those parts of your brain are really closely associated with your limbic system. And your limbic system comprises of parts like your hypothalamus, your hippocampus, your amygdala, your cingulate gyrus, and those parts of your brain are responsible for emotions, okay? They're also responsible for your autonomic nervous system, which is your fight or flight response, and it's also responsible for your endocrine system. So, simply by smelling an essential oil, you can have an effect on your emotions, your fight and flight, which is your heart rate, your breathing, your metabolism, and it can also have an effect on your endocrine, like that's your hormone release, okay? And these results, like these effects, do take a few minutes to actually start working. So they peak at around 20 minutes and they're there for a good kind of 60 minutes, and after that they start to dwindle off. So if you're particularly seeking an effect, you might want to kind of pull out your essential oil bottle and have a sniff every hour or so if you're getting a good result from something. The other thing that you will often hear is that when you smell something and you don't like it, okay, sometimes people will actually have a physical reaction to essential oils. It doesn't mean that you are necessarily needing that particular oil. All right, it means that your body is actually having an autonomic nervous system response. It's having that whole fight or flight. It doesn't like it. But the good news is that you don't have to keep persisting and keep smelling something which is making you physically sick, all right, to get over it. The good news is that essential oils, because they're made up of lots of different components, okay, there is often more than one essential oil that does a similar role. And the reason that one essential oil might work and another isn't is that the chemical constituents, all right, they work the same in our brains. That's the neurochemical response to essential oils. The scientists have mapped it out. You know, it works the same in me as it does in you. But what is really individual is that emotional response, okay, through your limbic system. That emotional response to essential oils changes depending on smell. All right, so the smell more than the chemical result, okay, the neurochemical result. So when you find out what essential oils have similar chemical constituents, like similar chemistry, then you can start exchanging smells. So lavender and petitgrain have very similar chemical constituents, but completely different aroma profiles. Okay, so if you're wanting perhaps the sedative or the analgesic effect of lavender, but you just can't stand the smell, try a bottle of petitgrain. Okay, petitgrain's from the bitter orange. It's from the citrus family, and it has a citrusy smell. Okay, no one essential oil is going to be perfect for everybody, and that's why there is a degree of trial and error when you get your essential oils to find out what is actually going to work for you. Because whilst the neurochemistry might be the same for everyone, our emotional and psychological responses aren't. So hopefully that lets you know a little bit about how essential oils can actually affect your brain and affect all other parts of your body. And every time you smell a smell, a little part of it does actually end up in your brain. And that's one of the reasons why synthetic smells, or perhaps like your cheaper essential oils that have a bit of maybe a funky aroma profile, they can actually set off some negative emotions when you actually smell them, and then you get onto the good stuff, and there's nothing like it. All right, so use your essential oils. Inhalation, particularly effective for emotions, for analgesia, for sedative effects. Really strong, faster and stronger than your oral ingestion, okay, and your topical application as well, for that matter. So there you go, we've all been doing it. Not anything new, but now you understand why. See ya.